That's right, folks. Welcome to the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism. We were listening to Shivi Plague with Manyoku. Once again, underground artists need to maybe try to be a little bit more comprehensible. Maybe just a little bit, so I can actually read your names, just like gibberish. Today, folks, we're going to be just focusing on one topic: Gaza, Ukraine. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Israel and Iran. Welcome back, Chem Goblin. I thought of Ukraine when I saw your name, I think. But yeah, we'll be covering Ukraine tomorrow. Today, we just wanted to do a follow up on Israel. Hey, Clutch Cargo, welcome back, and thank you so much for those props. I wasn't able to say thank you for those props yesterday at the end of the stream. Very much appreciated. Put yourself in the epicenter of the news, Bukkake. That was, yeah. We thought maybe we could try that slogan. That maybe not as good as it once sounded, or maybe it still sounds just as bad. But yeah, we're not exactly going to do a news Bukkake. Maybe just a news. Missionary style. Boo, what? Boo, come on, boo. I didn't pay for that. No, we're going to keep it to one topic, and we're just going to do a follow-up. I have a few things I wanted to say. The big thing I want to do is, kind of a correction here real quick. Not correction per se. I just wanted, it looks like I was incorrect about Iran being dumb. It looks like they knew exactly the amount of missiles to fire that Israel and their allies were going to be able to shoot down. I don't know if they killed. The death toll seems incredibly low, to almost non-existent. Most of the Sunday shows were not even mentioning death tolls. So I was criticizing Iran yesterday because it seemed like it was kind of a boner move to do the cruise missiles, but it looks like they were well aware of Israel's and Israel's allies' ability to shoot down those cruise missiles. So it looks like, once again, you can't be underestimating Iran. Welcome back, Woke Patriot. All right, so let's just jump right into it here. A lot of you have probably already seen a lot of this news, but I got a report on it, so I apologize if you've already been seeing all this. I had to watch the kid while my wife enjoyed an afternoon to herself with her friend. Ooh, I know, right? You know, really, it'd really be best if we could just pass a law to make it illegal for her to divorce me, and then then I kind of like I'm basically have kidnapped her, and I'll never approve that divorce. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? And then the whole Bible backs me up too. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, no, you have to be my mommy slave. Jesus Christ himself said so. Himself, by the way. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be something? I mean, it'd be something. I don't know about great. Misogynists are so hilarious. They look like me, and then they're like, I want to own you. Wow, okay, all of a sudden we're talking about feminism. No, let's jump on over to this interest. It really is interesting because it was a really good chess move. It was the exact right move from Iran. And we're also seeing, I'm going to be reporting on this, the settlers moving north, women and children at least. There's a rumor going around that they're letting women and children up into northern Gaza. And if Israel doesn't stop them from returning, that might be it. And they're headed towards northern Gaza. They're not headed towards middle of Gaza. These people are heading right back up. They said they want to be, with their family, and you'll see the clip here in a little bit. Let's jump into it.
We begin with the aerial assault launched by Iran against Israel. The Israeli army says more than 200 missiles and drones were fired from Iran.
Does this really say Gaza-Iran war? Did I really have that the entire time yesterday and no one... Gaza-Iran war? What? Does it really say that? I had that whole time and I didn't notice until right now? Really? And no one corrected me. No one corrected me. I just had it there the whole time for like hours. And you guys don't even watch, do you? I'm on like the 7th screen. I'm on your 7th screen. Wow. Wow. I'm shocked. I looked down and said Gaza. Gaza? Okay. I'm seeing reports that Israel is expecting to attack very soon, most likely before Monday night. That would be such a foolish thing to do. That would be such a foolish thing. But we are going to hear an analyst here that points out that Bibi Netanyahu has a history of, attacking last. He has a petulant desire to always attack last. I think Gaza-Iran versus Israel war. Yeah, I guess. Not really. Not really. Or any regime prefer to not have a full-scale confrontation with Israel so they have time to build a nuke, or because they know no lose a conventional war. Yeah, I mean, they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to have a full-scale confrontation because, yeah, it's incredibly expensive and counterproductive. With that said, this idea, this American exceptionalist idea that we could just roll over Iran. Have you taken a look at the map? Have you seen how big this country is? They also, oversee a very incredibly important logistical strait, the Strait of Hormuz, Hormuz, with a Z there at the end. And the moment you attack Iran, you shut that strait down. It gets shut down immediately. Global trade completely shifts. Everything all of a sudden becomes more expensive almost instantly. So there's and many more things to consider. So this idea that Iran's on borrowed time, and it's only a matter of time before the U.S. and Israel just takes care of that little problem. And let me be clear, Iran is not a friend to the West. They go out of their way to antagonize us. They go out of their way to, from their perspective, it's pushing back against our hegemony. Hegemony. But it's their attempt to push back against that. So, wanted to put a lid on that right away. We need a regime change, Israel. I mean, we could just let them, or we should just let democracy do its thing, and we can influence Israel's democracy by carrot and sticking their military, right? Like, well, I'll be the president of Israel that will get America to support our military again, kind of situation. Of course, we're cowards; we're not willing to do that, Now it's right back to it. Like I was mentioning before, the framework for building this war is right there. Israel is very hot to get into it. Anyway.
Most of the missiles have been intercepted by Israel, and the US, UK, and Jordan have also shot down drones. Air raid sirens have sounded across Israel, and explosions have been heard in Jerusalem. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard says the assault is in retaliation for an attack on its consulate in Syria, which killed several generals. It's the first time Iran has launched a direct military attack on Israel despite decades of intense hostility. While there's been widespread international condemnation of the Iranian attack, U.S. President Joe Biden repeated
those facilities, nuclear manufacturing facilities, the real ones, you're not getting those without the really, really, really big shit. The really big shit. And even then, you're not going to get it all. Yeah, that's a tough sell. That's going to be a tough sell there, Cochise. It's pretty deep. They got that shit locked down. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. And they understand they're poking a bear.
Repeated America's ironclad support for Israel. Secretary General.
UN calls for immediate end to hostilities. Germany warns region could plunge into chaos. UK calls attack reckless. Really? Reckless? Shocked to hear that from the UK.
Antonio Guterres criticized
reckless, and then they said reckless while they were throwing money at the Israeli representative.
A serious escalation by Iran. The UN Security Council has called an emergency meeting. Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock also condemned the attack, saying it could plunge the entire region into chaos. The British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak called the assault reckless and vowed to stand up for Israeli security. Well,
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Very, very reckless. Very reckless. Come here. Let me give you a hug. Oh, poor baby. Only Israel gets this treatment, man. And I tell you what, they're not going to come through when in the clutch. They're not. The whole idea of Israel is that, they represent Western interests in the Middle East. They're not going to come through. The whole thing's a waste of time. This whole, pledging allegiance to Israel, it's all been just a complete waste of time. They're not going to come in when we actually want them to kick butt. It's not going to happen.
Israeli army has lifted its advice to people to go to air raid shelters. It says there's been little damage so far.
Iran launched dozens of surface-to-surface missiles towards the state of Israel. The vast majority were intercepted outside the borders of the state of Israel.
So a vast majority were intercepted. 99%, apparently. Only 7 got through. A few of those impacts that we saw yesterday. So we're still going to go to war. Yeah, we're still going to. This feeds perfectly into our victimhood narrative, and we're going to go ahead and full steam ahead and keep antagonizing, and we're gonna keep going. So basically, what you're saying is, the enemies of Israel should, when they attack you, they should go really, really hard. Basically, don't swing it. Don't swing at the king and miss kind of situation, huh? Full steam ahead for war. Great. BB's gonna do it, huh? Monday, huh? Monday even, right away. If he was, the U.S. will let him get away with something minor, if he does something. But I mean, what he only killed one person, a very important person. Targeted strike. Iran will have to respond if they do another targeted assassination, if they take out another high-end Iranian leader instead of some port in the wind attack that's easily brushed aside like they did. You know, Iran's over here performing theatrics. Israel's over here being a legitimate bully. That's not going to be enough for Iran.
By our air defense systems. A number of missiles fell in our territory. We know of one girl who was
Davey pointing out, mentioning the girl that was killed, unfortunately. Davey over here, though, pointing out Saudi Arabia and Jordan both shot down Iranian drones and missiles. And it really was like kind of a opportunity for them to, you know, say definitively, this is the side that we're on. You know, do not include us in your plans. If you're going to take on Iran, if you've been paying attention to geopolitics for the last umpteen years, which I know is just incredibly like, you know, roadblock. So I get if you haven't, but it's been well known that Iran is kind of the next Middle East target. You know, Iraq, Afghanistan, those were in the crosshairs, and now Iran has been in the crosshairs for quite some time. And really, it's just been waiting for an excuse. It really has been. It's just the plan's on the shelf, gathering dust for now. But we're just waiting for anything to really give us this excuse to go in there. And there's a myriad of reasons. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why the United States is still embarrassed by its fucking coup attempt. But that still has something to do with it, I bet. But look how we're treating Cuba. You know, it's like a ex-husband who works at a company. He's the president of the company, right? And his wife is an employee, and he keeps giving the wife really shitty jobs. And it's been like 20 years, like 30 years, and everybody's like, dude, just quit treating her like shit. No one cares anymore. That's what Cuba is. It's so abusive. It's so petty. It's so petty. Some defiance that was shown decades ago is still being treated like a fresh wound. It's pathetic. Also, more violence in the West Bank with an Israeli kid taken and found dead. Yeah, that's right. I didn't have time to report on that. Thank you for mentioning that, Clutch Cargo. There was a dead Israeli child that was found, and then a bunch of West Bank homes were attacked by settlers. I believe I saw in the comments of that just this year, there's been 35 or 36 dead Palestinian children in the West Bank, killed by settlers or Israelis in some way. So, yeah, and really, the West Bank is a joke. Just do it. Just stop with the theatrics, Israel. Stop with the fucking theatrics. Stop pretending like you think Palestine exists anymore. Just do it. Just take it. Just let the settlers do what they want to do. You're going to let him. Ben-Gvir wants them to go crazy. Ben-Gvir hands them weapons. Hands them fucking American-made weapons, dude. I've shown the footage. So stop the fucking farce.
Injured, and a strike at a base in the south with only minor damage to the infrastructure.
Wow, minor damage, and only one person got injured, not even killed. So full-blown war. Let's go, bitch. Fucking fuck you. Yeah, it's gone. It's on. We only, like they murder a diplomat with a fucking crazy ass missile, blowing up the whole thing. Huge deal. Iran doesn't even kill anybody. Am I hearing this correctly? Not a single person even died? And that's it. That's the justification we need. Full-blown war, defending Israel. Oh, Davin also wanted to mention, thank you for coming back. Looks like you're right. I'm going to be reporting maybe tomorrow about the polls, but you're correct. Joe Biden is jumping ahead a little bit abnormally. It's breaking out of that 50-50 error ratio for Joe Biden. So that is some good news. Thank you for letting us know. Amira Hakim. Hello.
Let's go to Jerusalem now, where DW correspondent Tanya Kramer is standing by for us. Tanya, good to see you again. So can you give us an update on the attack and the situation in Israel?
Well, as we just heard, we got some more details from the Israeli military here, saying that about 200 drones and missiles were...
So, hey, Call, do you agree with your government's retaliation for the assassination of, I think it was a diplomat, something like that? Some kind of high-end government person there was assassinated by Israel. Do you agree? Are you happy with Iran's response to that assassination?
Mostly intercepted, as they put it, outside of Israel with their strategic partners, as they put it, and also through their air defense system. But there were some hits identified. They only told us about one on a military base in the south of Israel. So some made it through the defense. There's also one injured child, critically injured. We don't know, probably from shrapnel, what happened there. Now, we can still hear fighter jets in the air, because the army had also said, despite telling people they don't have to be...
Go ahead and tell us more what you think there, Call. Very interesting. Thank you for coming in from Iran and letting us know what your opinion is. Very valued. It's really one of the biggest value added to this whole toxic social media framework called Twitch. But this amazing ability for people from all over the world to participate in a conversation together, it's really crazy.
Near shelters, but this is an ongoing event, so to speak, and we can still hear in Jerusalem the fighter jets. We heard shortly before 2 a.m. Those explosions, potentially the interceptions that were really close by Jerusalem, but they were all over the country. So that was being heard, and now we also had in the past half an hour or so again in the north some air raid sirens going off in northern Israel, also on the occupied Golan Heights. That's probably more related to the cross-border attacks we've been seeing there in the past couple of weeks between Hezbollah and
It's pretty fucking hypocritical
Israel,
strategy. But that's to be expected. You know, when you're observing it, the bald hypocrisy is offensive to your intelligence. But from an outside perspective, where it's just like, huh, what? Oh, this country I couldn't even picture in my head. Is doing something somewhere. I don't know. Right. I got to get back to work. Right. So it's, the hypocrisy is easily, obfuscated by that.
We understand diplomatically on that front that U.S. President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were on the phone. Of course, now the question is, how will Israel retaliate to that, or how will they respond to this attack?
Yeah.
Tanya, briefly, if you could, how are Israelis dealing with the current situation?
Ace. There's no appetite on the British media for war. At the same time, there is still a knee-jerk, reflexive need to defend Israel and also give Israel as much time as they want for their talking heads to gish gallop. And I have several examples I'm going to be showing, Ace, disgusting, with Ian Dale just letting the IDF just completely take over his show without any kind of critical pushback. And then another example of this Israeli representative just gish galloping away, man. Gish galloping, dude, for a solid 2 minutes, and Sky News just letting him do it, dude. No push. Oh, I'm so sorry. Could you, maybe, stop lying to me for a second so you can give me a straight answer? Absolutely pathetic. So we're going to be showing some of that. So we got our friend here from Iran, Call Misinyu. It was horrible, guys. I saw ballistic missiles by my own eyes yesterday. It was kind of close, and people were worrying about a missile fall in their homes. Indeed. Yeah, this is no joke. Iran is absolutely in the Western crosshairs, and Israel will be the front line of that. And it looks like Bibi Netanyahu wants to pretend like he's bowdy. But I got a feeling that, 2 weeks into, Iranian invasion, Bibi Netanyahu is going to be having some second thoughts. Because like I said before, at the start of the stream, there's this Western, idea, from people who are Western, aligned with Western interests, that this is going to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of situation in Iran. But I do not think that's the case. In fact, Iran has been preparing for such a thing for quite some time, and I don't think this is like an Iraq situation or Afghanistan situation where the government is so wildly corrupt it can't really corral enough resources to put up much of a fight. I think there's a misconception about Iran, and that's the amount of power it actually can exert, can push back. And, Iran could very easily turn into another Vietnam-like situation, just an intractable quagmire where there's no end in sight. So it could very easily spiral out of control. Bibi Netanyahu thinks, yeah, I want to be a war president. It's going to be great for me. I'm going to win this re-election. But, like a lot of dictator-like, style people like Bibi, he has a misconception about the amount of power that he's actually going to be able to influence or, push forward. Imagine living in Iran. Is that a beautiful photo? Most likely, I bet it is. The West, out of all civilization, should know that war is quick and easy to hurdle. That will blow over quickly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we never learn a lesson, do we? Hugs. Oh. Look, here's the thing about ignorance, about a country's ignorance. I don't think a country's ignorance on feminism, on any number of topics, should doom that country to death or invasion. Imagine if people treated America, on the same scale, right? The amount of ignorance, the amount of stupidity coming out of our country. It's like, oh, well, you don't really deserve to be in charge. You're clearly, you shouldn't have control. I'm uncomfortable with stuff like this, where it's like, of course I disagree with it, but this whole idea that they're, I don't know, lesser than us, or they're more barbaric than us, because they're throwing gay people off of buildings and making ridiculous statements about how there's no gay people in Iran. I think that was one of the Ayatollahs made that statement, or was that about Russia? Might be getting those two mixed up. But, we obviously, that doesn't mean we work with them. That doesn't mean we do like a Saudi Arabia with the United States. But at the same time, I don't know if ignorance and backwards thinking should condemn a country to be manipulated by the more powerful geopolitical elements around it. Like, I don't understand why why that's like, I'm not saying that maybe that's what you were saying, but it's just like, that's often used as a justification, right? Well, they're rather uncivilized, and they don't even know that they want our help. They don't even know that, and it's like, ugh, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about all that.
I think everybody here is aware that this is a very dangerous situation. It's an unprecedented situation. The first time that we see such an escalation directly from Iran. Yeah. There was always talk about that this could happen.
Hey, welcome to the stream. It's your boy Lenny. Greetings from south of Boston. Thank you so much for coming back. Folks, if you're new to the chat, if you're new to the News Underground, click the Lenny button and click follow. Do it immediately. I don't even need to tell you why. Thank you so much, Lenny.
But again, now it has become reality, and the question now that everybody here is, of course, asking is, where is this going from here? There's already a war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
Call, you'll have to forgive me, but you seem a little coached. You seem a little scripted, Call. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, like I said, I don't agree with the theocratic government in Iran. The moral police, especially, who commit atrocities every single day against women. Yeah, I certainly disagree with that. Once again, though, I don't know if that should condemn Iran to an invasion.
We have the tensions and cross-border attacks in the north of Israel with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Also attacks from the Houthis from Yemen in the past week. So where is this going? Can this be contained? And Israel had already said if there's a direct attack from Iran on Israel, then they would retaliate.
Thanks, Tanya. Tanya Kramer in Jerusalem. Well, DW correspondent Mohammed Shreita is in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. He told us more about the reaction in Lebanon to Iran launching an attack against Israel.
Well, I just received reports on what appears to be drones and missiles over Lebanon's coast and cities. This needs further verification. But Lebanon actually announced that it has closed its airspace temporarily due to the escalation in the region. On the southern front with Israel, and this front has been active since October 8, not in an unusual way over the past 2 days, I would say, but we just received reports that cross-border shelling between Hezbollah and the Israeli army has intensified in the last couple of hours. The Iranian-backed militant group announced that it targeted air defense bases in the Golan Heights, meaning that this started simultaneously with the attack that Iran launched against Israel this night. Israel also is using extensive fire force to strike positions inside southern Lebanon.
All right, is that then a further escalation of the situation there in that region?
I mean, Hezbollah has already been involved in this conflict since October 8. It's been trading fire with Israel since Hamas launched the unprecedented attack on Israel on October 7. The party is a key member, as you may know, of the so-called resistance axis along the Houthis in Yemen, the Popular Mobilization in Iraq, and Hamas in Gaza. They all receive fund and logistic support from Iran. Now, Hezbollah's leader repeatedly said that it does not want further escalation with Israel, and that the combat that it's engaging with Israel on this front is only in support to Gaza, as he says. But the party is engaging in combat with the Israeli army on a daily basis so far. Now, are they willing to escalate the situation further? This question remains unanswered, but we will have to wait and see how Israel responds to the unprecedented attack by Iran tonight also.
Mohammed, briefly, if you could, how are the general population there in Lebanon dealing with what's happening tonight?
Well, it definitely disrupted the life of the Lebanese. There's a sense of fear and anxiety all over the country. Beirut's nights are usually wild and busy. It hasn't been the case last night, and tonight it's significantly calmer since yesterday, as everyone was anticipating this attack. A couple of hours ago, people have been rushing to petrol stations to fill their car tanks. I've seen the queues on petrol station, and this is out of fear of possible escalation in the coming few days. Everyone is watching the situation very carefully in Lebanon.
Yep, makes sense.
Thanks, Mohammed. Mohammed Shreita in Beirut. Behnam Ben Taleblu is a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies in Washington, D.C. He told me the attack by Iran is unprecedented.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you. Unprecedented and historic. You know, for almost 4 decades, the Islamic Republic of Iran had been fighting a shadow war with the Jewish state. You know, they have been chanting for over 4 decades, death to Israel. They put their money where their mouth is, but now it really is indeed coming out of the shadows. 2 quick reasons why it's unprecedented. Number one, the Islamic Republic has never fired projectiles like ballistic missiles, for example, from its territory publicly against Israeli territory. Number 2, in the public ballistic missile operations that the regime has been engaging in, at least 11 or 12 since 2017, for example, it has never struck a defended target. For example, all the places Iran did strike with ballistic missiles, Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, were undefended targets against air and missile defenses. So Israel, in fact, is one of the countries with the most advanced layered air and missile defenses, making it an exceptionally hard target for these missiles, which begs the question of what were the Iranians hoping to achieve? Was this more of a test run? Was this an attempt to layer drones and ballistic missiles? Lots of operational questions here. And the biggest one is, indeed, how will Israel respond?
Look back,
correct, how will Israel respond? But tell me this, what did you make of the type of attack? It's given Israel plenty of time to prepare, right?
It was a message.
In some way, you know, the Iranians for a little over a week and a half had been public.
It was a message, and they did the right. They ended up killing nobody. which is what I was worried about with the cruise missiles. I was like, shit, dude, these are hitting. But no, they knew what they were shooting at. They were shooting at, you know, the cruise missiles that were hitting were targets that were warned in one way or another. Nobody gets killed. It's clearly a message.
Telegraphing that there would be an operation, and the first phase of the military operation that commenced was with lower and slower flying drones. Some had read this as an attempt to give the Israelis time to prepare, but I actually think that would not be the case. The firing of drones first and marrying it with ballistic missiles later is because the flight time for some of those ballistic missiles can be as short as 8 to 12 minutes to traverse over about 1,600 kilometers. For the drones to avoid existing air and missile defenses and hug the terrain they fly over, it indeed might take several hours.
That's
so
what we saw.
Pre-firing and
that's
the
why
publication,
we, you know, that's why we got that big warning, which was really weird. Like, you know, missiles in the air, drones in the air. And then, you know, so everyone started paying attention because we knew the drones were going to hit. And then, you know, that's when they fired those cruise missiles. And in the span, you know, they get to their target in less than 15 minutes. God, that was wild. All live, all of it broadcast live. Jesus.
Of the drone strike, I don't think was an attempt to prepare Israel to make the strike less successful. I think it was an attempt to pair it together with a higher and faster flying missile.
All right, what's being said in Iran?
Very interestingly, you've had lots of pro-regime media, semi-official media, media related to the IRGC carrying, in essence, the full copy-paste of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps press statement, essentially saying that, yes, indeed, this was a public operation. They are claiming success. They are claiming military targets were struck. So there is a fair amount of braggadocio in the Iranian press, leading one to believe that this operation, as risky and bold, and, you know, game-changing as it was, also was intended to signal resolve to a domestic audience as much as it was looking to signal resolve to a foreign audience.
As always.
Are we seeing a change in Iran's approach to the decades-long hostilities with Israel?
Slowly, we are seeing an approach to how the Islamic Republic of Iran adjudicates that hostility with Israel. Some, I think, today have been looking at the missile strikes and the kind of embracing of the overt posture with Israel as Iran moving full force out of the shadows. I don't think it's full force out of the shadows. It is marrying the existing asymmetric threat that the regime poses and slowly layering on elements of this conventional threat architecture. The regime is trying to have the best of both worlds here, and that's why I think even though the Israelis were very successful at intercepting the vast majority of these projectiles, the regime is not done with, you know, marrying these threats up together and trying to dangle the capability to respond to Israel as a sort of Damocles.
Now, we're running out of time, but briefly, if you could, what do you expect from Iran's proxies in the region?
Already there are allegations that the Shia militias in Iraq had attempted to fire land attack cruise missiles at Israel. That's reported but not confirmed. That Hezbollah had slowly began to also, earlier in the day, fire some rockets over the border. I expect them, in case there is an Israeli overt military response, to begin to fill the gap. And the question is, if America does get more involved directly, I think those Shia militias would move to begin targeting American assets.
Behnam Ben Taleblu, a senior fellow from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
Pretty wild shit there, huh? Pretty wild shit. That was a really good interview. Covered, you know, several different, you know, went through the whole thing really, really well. So thank you, DW, for that. You know, good wide spectrum of experts. That was a damn good interview. You know, DW just doing that every single day. I think the next video I want to show you here is that video I was hinting at. It's from Crux here, but we are seeing kind of a power play from the Palestinian civilians. Just, you know, there's a rumor being spread that women and children are being allowed back into northern Gaza, and you know, there's some movement there. I think if the numbers are small enough, then no one's really going to pay attention if Israel blocks their passage. But if the numbers are large enough and Israel continues to block their passage, kind of gives up the game, doesn't it? So let's just show you here. Sorry, it's Crux vertical video. Sorry. Displaced Palestinians have attempted to go back to the areas they are from in northern Gaza, so all the way north. We are as happy as if today is a feast, my son. I swear to God, we're drained. We want to go back. Check on our homes and see our children and relatives, as in see their bodies, by the way. I guess some of them are still there, but I think that's what she's referencing. I hope you'll be okay. Let us try to use the time. I'm quite sure what she means. It's being said that girls, women, and children will be allowed back. God willing, we return to our home safely. People walked along Wadi Gaza and Nusrat camp, hoping to be allowed to cross back. Some Gazans carried their belongings while others used bikes or donkey carts to move. Yeah, Clutch, sooner rather than later. This is, very quickly getting out of control. The Israeli army has not issued a clear directive regarding the return of displaced families. A couple months ago, Israel could do no wrong, and it could annihilate, literally tens of thousands of people, and the best you get is a couple crosswords on some BBC, right? That is shifting very quickly, and if Israel wants to secure these gains, whatever the actual goal was, they're going to need to accelerate that. The next article I'm going to show is that, there's actually food aid is returning because of, Joe Biden doing that phone call. Food aid has returned, not exactly in abundance, but the famine has been halted, which is great news for humanity and great news for lefties. Not so great news if you're trying to create a humanitarian disaster, at the Rafah crossing, and then attack Rafah and push people to breach that border, to cross that border because they're terrified. That's not going to work anymore if people are no longer starving. It's going to be harder, at least. It's not exactly I guess running from missiles. You don't really need to be hungry to do that, but you need that desperation because Egypt. Egypt. Who knows how Egypt will react to hundreds of thousands of people crossing that border, breaking those fences. So the whole thing's kind of going tits up here. If the goal is to take the entire Gaza Strip and kick the Palestinians into the Sinai Peninsula, that whole plan is going tits up really, really quick. And I know, Bibi is probably much more willing to give up that and say, look, we'll get them next time. Look what we're doing to the West Bank. We'll just get it piece by piece. But I think it's Ben-Gvir who's really pushing, for the final solution, to use a different term. So anyway, the Israeli army has not issued a clear directive regarding the return of displaced families. They got to move quickly and probably make it dirty. Well, if that's, that's the thing, right? Yeah. Seems like Israel might have blinked. Yeah, they did. Yeah. That must have been one hell of a phone call. I hope we get to hear it one day. Wait, I'm sorry, I missed that final part. I'm sorry, I missed that final part and I can't move the video. Jesus, I just hate it. I just hate it so much. I just hate it so much. You make an inferior version of your video player. I get it. I know people like to go up and down, but why can't I? Well, you're just going to... Okay, anyway. You know what I mean? Okay, so this Ian Dale interview is disgusting. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow. It's not as disgusting as this interview. This interview is truly trash, is absolutely disgusting. So this is the president, I believe, of Israel. And I mean, and this jackass just lets him walk all over him. All over. It's just sad. It's just sad how this charlatan, gets a plane ticket to Jerusalem, and then this is the interview that he gives him. It's just unbelievable. Real quick though, let me see if I have a couple other smaller ones I want to get to before we get to these kind of bigger videos. This is from Woke Patriot. Thank you, Woke Patriot. Yeah. Thank you, Woke Patriot, for your contributions in the Discord. Thank you, Chem Goblin. Thank you, Davey. Thank you, Strategy Member. And the Gazans return north, so inevitably does Hamas. Yeah, that was the problem from the beginning, Clutch Cargo. That terrorism is an idea. That terrorism is about the hatred in one's heart. And, you know, the only way to kill terrorism is to kill everybody. That's kind of exactly what we're fucking talking about. Remember my snap analogy about a month ago where I said if you could snap your fingers and have all of Hamas in one room and kill them instantly, the very next day it would be Hamas 2.0 replacing it. If you want to eliminate terrorism, what you need to do is create a happy and healthy middle class. But that would require treating Palestinians like human beings, something the Israeli government positively, certainly, 100% refuses to do. The problem here is bloodlust and hatred and ignorance and power. Once again, thank you, Woke Patriot, for this. House to act on Israel aid, but Ukraine put up in the air after Iran's attack. So we Speaker Mike Johnson has touted a plan for Israel aid while facing pressure for months to act on assistance on Ukraine. So this is going to be, I'm sure Mike Johnson and the Republicans are going to be like, shame on the Democrats for holding back aid to Israel. Look, they're under attack. It's literally a war with Iran. You're going to see Hannity basically use histrionics that you haven't heard since the 1960s. With communism. Oh, they're going to get us. It's a full-blown war. It's World War III. Can you believe Joe Biden's not helping Israel when it's World War III? I can't believe this. But Joe Biden, that's what he needs to do, because this is the opportunity to get an omnibus bill passed, aid bill for Ukraine. Ironically, Israel doesn't need the aid. They apparently spent $1 billion defending themselves yesterday, though. That was the number that I heard. It cost Israel about $1 billion to put up that defense. Those that Iron Dome isn't cheap. You know how expensive it is to fire like one of those chain guns, like $10,000 a minute or something. Well, imagine what the Iron Dome costs per minute to fire. Very next day, you need to use the glove again and again and again until you realize that just Thanos, the entire population, just have. That's what I'm saying, This idea that and we still got people in the chat, and I'm not saying it's you, Clutch. There's other folks that are entertaining this fantasy that this was an anti-terrorist operation. But I mean, look, they might be able to, if what's really wild about this is that because of plausible deniability and because, they've been very strategic about the way they've said things, if they allow the Gazans to return, right? They try to take it, they try to attempt it, they go too far, they don't do it right. They can say the whole time, it was always from the very beginning anti-Hamas. It had nothing to do with taking the Gaza Strip. They could do that even today. Right, if that's what they wanted the narrative to be, right? They could always just say, well, we gave it a shot. Yeah, well, fuck, you got us. All right, come back in. Fuck. No, we're not going to help you at all for the rebuilding. You'll fuck yourself. No, that's fine. But I guess we're humanity. I guess it was an anti-terrorist operation. Certainly wasn't about taking the Gaza Strip. No, that was never part of the plan. Never. Haven't they been at war forever? They've been at war since the 1940s when the British and the United States allowed Israel created the entity of Israel with a bunch of zany Zionists and invaded Palestine. That's when the war started. Maybe they ain't got nothing left for one more barrage. Iran? Absolutely not. Iran's got drones up the ass, dude. You know how in Mexican society, 13-year-old girls, they have like a quinceañera Well, in Iran, when you turn 13, the government gives you a Shahed drone. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying, though? Speaker Mike Johnson is vowing to take up aid to Israel following Iran's Saturday drone attacks and renewed bipartisan pressure. And what is fueling questions whether the GOP leader will also act on Ukraine aid, which comes as Ukrainian leaders warn that they're running out of resources to combat Russia's military aggression. That's what we covered yesterday at the beginning of the day. Ukraine is hard up. Existentialism, Garrick. I'm a big fan of existentialism. Ironically, though, you need to acknowledge the reality of nihilism to, to fully understand existentialism. So, it's about that. It's the trifecta: existentialism, nihilism, or absurdism. Right? Some people prefer to be absurd. I despise nihilism. I don't agree with absurdism completely. I'm more of an existentialist, so that's where I'm at. Small nitpick, the conflict actually started before Israel was created, but that certainly escalated things. Thank you, iPlatinum Soul. I'm just going to take your word for it. I'm not a historian. So I'm going to go ahead and take your word for it. Go ahead and put in the chat if you have any history of the creation of Israel documentaries that you would like me to show. We always have fun showing documentaries once in a while in the News Underground. The Israelis could leave Gaza and just quietly start squeezing it again after it's now been utterly devastated. So true, Clutch Cargo. Yeah, look how successful that campaign's been in the West Bank. Absolute success. Securing territory every single month, man. It's like a little mini invasion every single month. Super successful. Okay, and this is fueling questions whether the GOP leader will act on Ukraine, which comes to Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. We'll see, right? I don't need to read all this, but we'll see. We'll see if he does. I'll be following it. We'll be reporting on it. I predict that this will do it. But I don't know. They're completely shameless, and they sleep like babies knowing Ukrainians are dying on the front lines because of their action. So what can I say about ghoulish, shameless monsters? Oh, they're going to come to their senses? No, you gotta force them to do things now. And the neoliberals still haven't come to terms with that. They're still talking about bipartisanship. Bipartisanship? I love bipartisanship. Right? I won't get into the explanation. Interestingly, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, speaking on Fox News Sunday, declined to say whether Biden would sign an Israeli-only aid bill. He pushed for the Senate bill. So that's what's going to be happening. The Republicans are going to come out full guns ablazing. Every panic. Can you believe Joe Biden isn't protecting Israel? And World War III is starting with Iran. And can you believe Joe Biden's abandoning Israel at the worst possible time? So they're going to come out full swinging. And Joe Biden is going to, oh, gee, I don't know if I should be a leader right now. It's really tough. Maybe I should capitulate and just encourage the Democrats to sign an Israeli-only aid bill. Right? The hell is this?
In his sharpest.
This is pretty big, if true. Scoop over here at Axios. This was 11 hours ago. Biden told Bibi U.S. won't support an Israeli counterattack on Iran. Sounds like that's going to be happening anyway. But, Biden, that's the thing, though. He talks a lot of shit. He talks a lot of shit, but Bibi knows. The thing, but has any Israeli president pushed it this far? None of them had pushed it this far. Even, Bibi when he was in office last time. They've never pushed it this far. It's really putting Biden in a tough position because he's, Biden is the guy that got us out of Afghanistan. I don't know what his, what he's waiting on with Iraq. Maybe he's waiting for his second term. But I he's not a George Bush. He doesn't have, you know, this Dick Cheney desire, this John McCain desire to bomb Iran. He doesn't want to get embroiled and he certainly doesn't want to be pulled by the nose by a foreign leader into a foreign war. Nothing makes you look more weak than that, and you can bet Trump will be pouncing on that. After, you know, he'll quietly have to acquiesce and agree, I guess, but I'm sure the narrative will shift. Oh, look, Biden got us into another quagmire. Look at the taxpayer money being wasted by Biden. I can hear the, you know, the grifters already. So Biden doesn't want it, but according to Davey, came in the chat here, let us know that we might see a retaliation as soon as Monday from Israel, which would be just a big mistake. But apparently Bibi likes to have the last word. That's kind of his thing. Sounds about right. Oh my God. Uh-oh. You didn't clip the gun thing, did you? He did. He clipped the gun. Yep, I knew he did. I knew it. It just drives me crazy. I just thank you, Strategy. I appreciate that's very funny. But it just drives me crazy. You know, they're literally this is an existential battle for their existence, and they're still talking about bipartisanship. You know, they got the gun in the mouth, and it's still, oh, can we please work together? Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. Is capitalism turning into techno-feudalism? Kind of, yeah. Yeah. I always talk about how I don't really believe that those conversations have a lot of value towards, you know, changing the here and now, but I do think they're interesting conversations. Right? Are we in a technically, you know, feudal society? Are we technically serfs because we're getting just enough wages to get by? You know, that kind of stuff. Varoufakis, yeah. Navel gazer over there, Varoufakis, man. I've lost a lot of respect for Varoufakis in the last couple months, man. It's really kind of bothering me. Oh, I remember you, Chess Baiter. I remember you being a fucking... Yeah, okay. Welcome back. Someone's been watching a certain Greek economist. Ah, yes. That's where the Varoufakis came from. Digital feudalism is where all producers are serfs, but the big e-commerce websites, like, yeah, for the big, yeah, no, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with some of his analysis, but he is absolutely dismal when it comes to ideas about solutions, and he's also said some shit recently that's made me ripping pissed. If I remember correctly, I covered it on the stream. So we won't go into it again, but he said some shit recently that's like, nah, I'm off the Varoufakis train. Yeah, how can I forget people who masturbate to chess? He got banned from Germany yesterday. Okay. So this is interesting. BB's not holding back about the Rafah operation. I think, you know, if this continues, if this momentum continues to shift, what we'll see is, you know, kind of like what they did with the hospital. You know, they go in with the tanks and the soldiers. They clear out terrorists like they're supposed to, building by building. It puts them at great danger to do this, you know. But they kind of do what the U.S. did in Iraq and Afghanistan, going house to house. You know, clearing these folks out of there. Now, unlike the United States, Israel has done something incredibly monstrous and basically destroyed the entire area, pushing everybody and corralling everybody into one little area. Meaning that I do think it's technically possible for the IDF to go area to area and get all of Hamas, whatever that means. But if you wanted to cover every inch of Rafah with IDF soldiers without carpet bombing it, you know, moving around the civilians that are, that they have nowhere else to go because that's where you told them to go. That's what I think we're going to see. I don't think, because I think, what we were seeing was an engineered famine, squeezing everyone into Rafah, heavy pressure to get them in the Sinai Peninsula, and then one phone call later from Joe Biden, and the entire army pulls out, and now we got, Palestinians wandering north, wondering, is this over? What's going on? So we have Bibi over here promising the Rafah operation. I think, like I said, what we're going to see is something more surgical. Honestly, what they should have done from the very beginning. Yeah, Chet. Oh, he got banned for his pro-Palestine stance. Really? Wow. Got a source on that one? Got a link?
It's a pain.
You're getting that dunce cap again. I got a feeling. I'm getting it warm for you. I got the dunce cap right here. 30 minutes. It's got your name written all over it. Varoufakis' argument is that the most powerful entities now don't gain power by owning the means of industrial production, but rather by owning controlling the digital marketplace. Yeah, I mean, you have a big control over the zeitgeist, but I don't know, that's part of the picture. That's part of the picture. I would agree. That's part of the picture. I lost my Chud emote. What? What? What happened to your Chud emote? Chud Light. I saw Germany sent 2,000 police the size of an army battalion. What? What are we what? Huh? What? What's going on? German police stormed Palestine conference in Berlin. I did not hear about this. What the fuck is this? Oh, come on, Germany. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. Germany has been bending over backwards to defend the actions of Israel, almost in a way to kind of like cover up the mistakes of the past. It's so weird. It's so weird though, because it's like, oh, you support the actions of the Israeli government, Germany. You support an apartheid state. You support an open air prison. You support, the monstrous carpet bombing, an AI robot selecting victims, and demolishing piece by piece, building by building. Germany supports bulldozing civilians, just taking a bulldozer to dead civilians. That's your burial. Germany. I see. Yeah, this is pathetic. This is pathetic. That, because what did they say about free speech? If you want to know the limits of your free speech, right? Say something that the government disagrees with. So the German government disagrees that, the Palestinians are human beings. I mean, honestly, this is unbelievable. They're basically saying any grouping, any meeting of people that are pro-Palestinian is a terrorist meeting, which is inherently racist. Could you imagine, right? A bunch of Indian people having a meeting about, something happening in India and the government shutting it down. Outrageous. But there's this Palestinian exception. I've talked about this in the Discord. Look it up. It's this weird, because Israeli propaganda has been so prevalent for so many decades, and the Western consensus around it has been so solid for so many decades. There really is this misconception that Palestinians are somehow more barbaric, more animalistic, less worthy of humanity than you or I. And it's totally reinforced by the government. We've seen it in the past with anti-BDS legislation, literally saying it's illegal for you to go out of your way to not purchase Israeli goods because that automatically makes you a terrorist sympathizer and an anti-Semite. Beyond outrageous. I can buy whatever I want. You know, if I want the matzah meal from fucking, you know, Kentucky or the matzah meal from Israel, I have a choice. No, you don't. It's outrageous. This is totally outrageous.
They're also trying to silence people sitting here. And we're informing everyone.
Support for Palestinians does not automatically mean support for Hamas.
Ihre Versammlung hier im geschlossenen Raum wird hiermit durch die Polizei aufgelöst.
It's anytime you hear German, it's hard to not think of World War II.
Zum heutigen Zeitpunkt ist diese Versammlung hier und jetzt vor Ort beendet durch die Berliner Polizei. Es ist jetzt 17:24 Uhr, Ende der Durchsage.
So I didn't see any pro Hamas flags or any indication whatsoever. So that is very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for the link, strategy member. And also thank you, Cheese Baiter, for letting us know. That is very troubling. The speech on Palestine that got German police banned. That German police banned. You know, I would gladly show this if Varoufakis wasn't on my shit list, but he's actually officially on my shit list, so just gonna let that one be. Hardliners celebrate in Tehran after Iran attacks Israel with missiles and drones. So once again, you know, does a group of people, this isn't the entire population of Iran, does a group of people chanting in the street make it okay to condemn a country to invasion or whatever? You know, because do I need to show the Israelis? I mean, we were literally hearing, like, we thought what we heard yesterday in the video was Israelis celebrating, watching the attacks getting blown out of the air. But maybe those were areas in Lebanon. It's hard to tell if those were areas in Israel. But once again, this, you know, I really love it when people point to things like this and they say, see? Like what? What am I supposed to see? That it's cool to annihilate them? Because I just think about people looking at footage of like January 6th and saying, oh, well, look at those Americans. Look at how violent they are. Look how ignorant and stupid they are. That's all America. It's like, whoa, no, not even close. The dumbasses in January 6th barely represent a fucking, 5% of the zeitgeist in America. We're a very complicated place. All of a sudden, those rules don't apply, though, to Iran. Oh, well, it's a theocracy and a monoculture, and, you can basically just, take one opinion from one person, and that represents the whole country, and it's easier that way. Some cultures are more violent than others. That's when we're specific. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, Clutch Cargo. That's the kind of ignorance, from people like Sam Harris that I find so despicable, especially because people think Sam Harris is a lefty, spouting authoritarian right-wing nonsense like that. Oh, well, this specific religion is more violent than the other one. Oh, okay, yeah, tell that to the fucking Crusades, dude. Those motherfuckers were death squads roaming the entire world, lighting people up wherever they went. All in the name of God. By any objective measure, we have to be amongst the most violent. It's humanity. It has, each individual culture has their flavor of religion that they like the most, but it's all the same shit. Crusades 1 and 2 were defensive. 3 was King's glory and vanity. Thank you. I'm once again, I'm going to take your word for it. You seem like a student of history, and that's very much needed on the News Underground, so thank you. I appreciate the corrections. I find it hard to believe that going from area to area looking for heretics was defensive. Yeah, that's disgusting strategy, member. And, that's that slippery slope when when you tell the government it's okay to ban symbols and it's okay to ban certain books. And, because it's like, well, is there a free speech exception for fascism? And it's like, well, Germany did it. Germany did it. Well, look what Germany feels like it needs to do now, huh? Absolutely pathetic with that. Absolutely pathetic. Weak. Makes you look weak. Don't have a meeting. Oh, don't have a meeting. Okay, yeah, just have a cop show up. Just have a cop there. First person screams Allah Akbar. Okay, get him out of there. But who are you kidding? Shut the whole thing down? Not a single Hamas flag anywhere? Bunch of people demanding ceasefire and peace? Oh, we gotta stop this. It's pathetic. Had nothing to do with pilgrims being killed while traveling, but yeah, roaming and burning heretics. I just don't know. I don't know how the burning of heretics thing is defensive. Someone help me with that one. I thought this was informative. We get a look at this multi-billion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar maybe defensive system that Israel has built, and it was firing on all cylinders last night. It was really spectacular. It was really something else. The Crusades weren't the witch trials, my guy. Okay, all right, okay. You seem defensive on this. You're like, you seem like, I know a lot about this, man. There's some misconceptions about the Crusades, bro. I respect that. Wasn't that much roaming and randomly burning people. Okay, all right, okay. Looks like I'm going to have to do a deep dive on the Crusades as well. Truth is truth. Standing my ground. All right. All right. I'm still going to say it wasn't a very good thing. Are you trying to argue it was a necessary and a good thing? Are you're trying to flip the script on the Crusades, man? You're like, no, man, there's a misconception. Nor was the expansion of Islam, which is what it was a reaction to. Oh, I see. Defensive in that. Except for number 3, when it was about glory and honor. Very interesting. Who are able to criticize what they read isn't a problem anymore. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Vanity, not honor. Okay. Boy. I'm gonna you're keeping me in check, man. I'm gonna have some problems here. You better hope you're right on every one of these, dude, because I will be following up on some of this stuff. And I will be rubbing it in your nose if you're wrong. It sounds like you're right though. Like I don't really know any details about. I didn't even know there was 3 of them. So yeah, I'm just gonna take your word for it.
Iron Dome, the anti-missile system used for more than a decade to intercept rockets fired from the Palestinian territories in Lebanon, wouldn't have had the capacity to block all of the missiles sent by Iran and its proxies.
Yeah,
the dome is up to 95% effective, but only for short-range rockets. Iran is more than 1,000 kilometers away. That's where Israel's other defense systems come in. David Sling meant to counter medium-range missiles. The Arrow 3, developed in the U.S. to...
I heard an interesting take on the David and Goliath, story. That it's if you look at it from a different way, because those guys with the slings were really, really good. And once you've put in a couple hundred hours, you could be super accurate and super deadly with those. So some people are reanalyzing the David and Goliath story as a guy who brought, who started shit with a much bigger guy, because the much bigger guy thought it was going to be like a fist fight, and then David basically brings the equivalent of a pistol to the fight and cheats and shoots him straight in the head. Kind of an interesting reframing of the David and Goliath story if you think of it like this, right? Some little punk ass bitch antagonizes a much bigger guy, convincing him that it was going to be a fist fight, and then kills him with a with a headshot. Is that one wrong, iPlatinum? Am I getting that one wrong?
To intercept long-range missiles fired from thousands of kilometers away, already used to destroy missiles sent by the Houthis. These interceptors, plus the old Patriot system used for decades, couldn't have stopped all of the Iranian drones and missiles without warplanes that shut down many of the vessels.
Among 170 drones launched by Iran, 0 entered Israel. Dozens were intercepted by Israeli warplanes, our air defense system, and the air defense system entered Israel.
So it's like, but we're still going to go to war,
Israel
though.
cites the U.S., Britain, Jordan, and France as the allies that allowed to intercept the Iranian attack. U.S. forces shut down dozens of drones and several missiles from the various...
And I don't have any confirmation, but we might have seen these things getting shot down the second they were in the air. Now, I haven't seen an analyst go over that, but remember, we were seeing these things look like they were launching and then immediately getting destroyed and shot out of the air. I would like some, if I ever see any confirmation, I'll definitely, show it to you guys. But that was really spectacular if that's what we're seeing, like, just total, domination, man. This stuff firing probably out of Lebanon. No, probably out of Jordan, because there's that mixed relationship where, they have Hezbollah in Jordan shooting it off, but the Jordanian government is like, don't involve me in your invasion with Iran.
Bases. Washington bolstered its presence in the region after October 7th and again in recent weeks, anticipating and hoping to deter an attack from Tehran.
The one with you're still talking about the Crusades there.
We have reported.
Okay. That's interesting. Biden G7 leaders unanimously condemn Iranian attack 2 hours ago. Yeah, that's to be expected. So yeah, okay. Here's that clip I was talking about. Food is coming back into the Gaza Strip. Like I said before, control seems to be slipping. Like if this really was a intentional manufactured famine, like what it looked like. Queer 2000, thank you for that follow. If it really was a manufactured famine, to trigger a crisis at the Rafah crossing and the Sinai Peninsula, well, that's all out of the. They went too far with the World Central Kitchen attack. And the U.S. was on board with UNRWA. Canada was on board with UNRWA for a little bit, and then they decided to go back. But UNRWA was basically kicked out of the country. Successfully destroyed that with a bunch of lies, dude, straight up lies. Oh, they're Hamas. Well, because they have thousands of volunteers and some of them, it's totally ridiculous. And then, of course, the hospital as well was the timing on that, the leaving 200 corpses and then claiming, oh yeah, valiantly claiming they killed 200 terrorists, no proof, nothing. They literally leave just piles of bodies. In the vicinity, bulldozed bodies surrounding the hospital. Hospital totally demolished and trashed, barely standing. Corpses left starving in the higher levels. So Joe Biden had no choice. Give him a call. So it does seem like this is shifting. This is changing. And Bibi Netanyahu had his opportunity to finalize this, and he might have lost it. He might have lost it right there with the World Central Kitchen. You may not believe me, but the Iranians are very scared. Now, it's probably not appropriate. There's probably a lot of Iranians that are very nervous about what this could mean, because even if it isn't going to be a 1 week, wham bam, thank you ma'am, quickie invasion, and then we've toppled Iran and we're done. Even though it's not going to be like that, it's still going to be hell on earth for the Iranians. So there probably are a lot of Iranians that are very, very nervous about what this could lead to. So maybe I should take that laughter back. Yeah.
Now, some bakeries have reopened in northern Gaza and have started selling small amounts of bread. The Israeli army has destroyed bakeries right across Gaza and has prevented the entry of flour and other basic goods as Palestinians struggle with forced starvation. Let's get more on this with Muad Al-Kahlout. He joins us from Jabalia. So the opening of a small number of bakeries, is that having an impact on the availability and price of bread?
Smash! Welcome back.
Yes, Sammy. The north of Gaza markets is witnessing a little recovery after the entering of a few amount of flour and food, and also supplies to the north of Gaza through Al-Rashid Street. And finally, you can see flour in the markets. Finally, you can see food and tomato or potatoes in the markets. Sellers have something to offer for after more than half a year of being closed and markets are destroyed. So sellers here are offering some food and supplies after a long time of closing, despite the expensive of
the
these
right wing, like I said,
products.
strategy. The right wing are going to go all in with a narrative of, you know, the lefties want to leave Israel vulnerable. The lefties want to leave Israel vulnerable. You know, because there's a great incentive right now to carrot and stick this to, you know, hey, we don't want a larger regional conflict. Biden is really going to try to push to couple Ukrainian aid with Israeli aid. But there's going to be a big push. I don't know what the right wing motivations in the UK would be. Because you mentioned the Sun there. I'm not sure what the right-wing motivations in the UK would be, other than what re-election politics. Maybe the re-election thing. Maybe that's the motivation to join in on that. Yeah, Platinum. Hope you're not being sarcastic, but I thought the border was a crisis. Oh yeah, it's a total crisis. It's not. I don't exactly agree with how Joe Biden's handling the border. And this, you know, it's very porous. I don't think that's a very good system. I think it could be improved without authoritarianism. I think there's actually a, you know, we don't have to treat people like animals on the border to actually solve this problem. But Joe Biden disagrees. He thinks the Heritage Fund is right. He thinks the right wing, Donald Trump, is right. Remember, Joe Biden, he didn't tear down that wall. He finished that wall. He started finishing the wall. Has Joe Biden torn down a single section of the wall? Spend time trying to sending in Ukraine is good, not like Afghanistan. Well, I platinum. Well, good luck, buddy. you enjoy shouting into a hurricane, huh? Screaming into a tornado.
Still, the prices
I can
getting
respect that.
down every day. Every day.
That looks yummy.
The prices is getting down. So the prices of today is cheaper than the yesterday. When it comes
got no
to
gloves, dude.
flour is finally offered in the markets, and there is one
keep up the good work, Platinum.
A bakery in north of Gaza and Gaza City, which is Kamal or Kamal Ajur Bakery.
That's what Destiny pretends he does.
In the Gaza City, that to provide bread for the people. And if you want to buy these bread, these 3 kilos of bread for 5 shekels, you would wait for a very long line in the bakery there. So these trucks and these floors that are arriving to the north, to the north of Gaza is elevating the problem and the humanitarian crisis, but still not solving it. So people who are here are asking for more trucks, asking for not killing the coordinators between the traders and the other side in the south. People are.
I really don't know how I feel about these guys collecting all this aid. Look at how much they've collected, and they're selling it. I'm not really too cool with that. It's a way to distribute it somewhat evenly, I guess, but I'm not too cool with it. Dude, I just want a free coffee per day for a week on the Timmy's app. All right, yeah, you know, it's a good day. It's a good day. Small victory. Celebrate! Free coffee! You get a whole year's worth of. It's probably a small coffee, a small little. You know when I did the free ice cream from Wendy's promotion, I didn't know that they had a special smaller cup. They give you a fucking thimble of ice cream. Nah, I doubt it, dude. You're gonna get a special version, even smaller cup. Give them a share of the amount. Yeah, strategy. Yeah, maybe people donated the flour if they didn't know what to do with it. Strategy. Starving people in Gaza know what to do with flour, unlike idiots like you and me. Okay, because we wouldn't know what to do with flour. I don't know what water. Salt, baking soda, is that how you make bread? I don't know. Some yeast. I think yeast is in there. I don't know. A teardrop of ice cream. Dude, it was pathetic. I trust the Palestinians can somehow manage to ration and distribute fairly. Yeah, Ace, I don't mean to be, you know, privileged American or anything, but I don't know. It just bothers me a little bit.
Asking for not bombing here and there. Okay,
no. He's giving it away. He's giving it away. Okay, no, this is an aid distribution center. Okay, he's giving it away. That wasn't any money. He's giving it away. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. All right, hell yeah.
Asking for ceasefire.
All right, thank you so much. Mu'adh al-Kahlou.
He's distributing it. That's great. All right, I got time for just a couple more clips here. Maybe I'll do this Ian Dale one tomorrow or something, or later next time. Maybe I'm not going to cover Gaza tomorrow unless, well, I might have to actually. So if I end up covering it, I might play this, but just, I don't know, man. It's wild. He lets this guy from the Jerusalem Post and I've seen this with several other BBC interviews. Just he does an interview with a guy, giving him all the information from, this fellow from The Economist, giving him a rundown. He's like, "Thank you, that was a great interview." And then they cut to the IDF. Okay, here's the IDF to lie to you uncritically. Here's the spin from the IDF. Here's the spin master from the IDF to give us a bunch of fucking lies. Uncritically. He says all kinds of shit about how, no mention of the assassination even, and no pushback. This guy does mention, oh, hey, didn't you guys assassinate Iran? And then he lets him, I swear to God, he lets him gish gallop for the next 5 whole minutes of just blah, 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 blah. Doesn't even mention Iran, doesn't even mention the assassination, goes on and on and on. And successfully gish gallops past the question. He doesn't follow up on it. Just lets him do it. Just lets him do it, man. It's wild. It's wild. The kid gloves that the media treats Israel with, and they still, the loudest chants of victim comes from these people and right-wing conservatives in America, of course. But it's okay. Yeah, that's really loud. Sorry, but this is actually a really, really good interview. Definitely want to show this. Yeah, this was from 6 days ago. Gazans return to devastation in Khan Yunis as Israeli forces withdraw. In Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, that one knight looked bored. He can't even go to 7-Eleven. Weird comment. I talked to my counterpoint tomorrow from Tel Aviv, and I'll get his take. Well, thank you, Lenny. I would appreciate that. Yeah, some insight. You get an inside scoop here. All right, this is kind of filler because it's like 6 days old, but they return to Khan Yunis to absolute devastation. They don't have the resources to rebuild. Israel is
as Muslims
that.
Around the world celebrate.
Yeah, so that's 4 days ago. This is some of the older stuff here. 4 days ago, yeah. Yeah, so this is where I'm getting my $1 billion estimate here is from this story from I24 News. Let's go ahead and watch this one.
An extraordinary success overnight to Israel's aerial defense systems, thwarting Iran's massive missile and drone attack. Over 300 projectiles, including ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and attack drones, were launched in the combined assault on the Jewish state early Sunday morning. And while according to the IDF, 99% of the threats were intercepted, the accomplishment does come at a price, a financial one. Experts estimate the cost of the interceptions by fighter jets and the wide Israeli arsenal of aerial defense systems at between 1 and 1.3 billion US dollars. And here are the small numbers. A single launch of Israel's Iron Dome system against short-range rockets costs $30,000. The use of Israel's David Sling system, designed to intercept enemy planes, drones, tactical ballistic missiles, $700,000.
Wow, per
Iran
shot.
is said to have launched up to 100 ballistic missiles. Those were intercepted by Israel's Arrow 2 system, with an estimated cost of $1.5 million per launch, or by the Arrow 3, which comes at a hefty $2 million per missile.
Freedom ain't free.
And this
Ukraine
is not
knows
taking
that.
into account the costs of getting fighter jets in the air and the use of air-to-air Python missiles, costing $20,000 per piece. In comparison,
Ice King,
launching
totally.
the attack drones and missiles costs a mere fraction of those defense tools. And yet, despite these staggering costs, the estimated damage prevented in both human life and property makes it cheap at the price.
It's a very biased news network. That's why they had to throw that last bit in there. Security ain't cheap. No, that's kind of interesting. All right, I think this is the last clip I'm gonna show. No, okay, we got two more clips for today. Let's go ahead and do this one, and then we'll get the. Let's do this one, and then we'll do the other one. So this is. I thought this was kind of interesting. The headline: Israelis unfazed after Tehran's attack. Iranians say retaliation proves nation strength. So I think we're gonna get some men on the street interviews. So let's see what we got here. Based, bro. No cap. I finally found out what no cap means. When you're capping something, you're like stopping somebody. They're cooking, right? And you put a cap on it. And he's like, "Hey, bro, no cap. Let me do my thing, bro. Don't put a cap on me." I get it now. Have I ruined it? Did I ruin it? Did I do it? On God. On God, fellow children.
We've seen over the last few days that the US ordered more aircraft carriers, more aircraft and troops, as well as ballistic missile destroyers to be moved into the region in anticipation for a retaliatory strike by the Iranians. And what we are hearing is that quite a lot of these...
You see them annihilated right there in front of your eyes. Just boom, just completely disintegrated. Totally
strike
nuts.
by
Right
the
here,
Iranians. And what we are hearing is that quite a lot of these drones and missiles and ballistic missiles that were shot down were actually done so outside of Israeli airspace, particularly over the airspace between Iraq and Syria, and of course Jordan as well. The Jordanian Air Force also joining in, although at times the Jordanians are slightly hesitant to admit that they do have a kind of working relationship with the United States as well. Of course, the US does have bases in Jordan as well. But I've had a source confirm it to me that the US did have intel that this kind of attack was possible, the scale of which, however, they are calling unprecedented. There's also a feeling within the government that Iran might have launched this attack knowing that it would have been thwarted.
Well, we showed that footage yesterday of that Israeli woman on the boat screaming at the top of her lungs.
And that really it was all about optics. They needed to do something big to show that they would respond to this attack on their embassy in Syria, and also especially for the hardliners inside Iran itself. But nevertheless, the United...
Well, it's just, I was surprised by this yesterday as well. It's shocking that Iran, that some of these came from Iran directly, not just from the proxies. This is very clearly messaging. This is very clearly optics. This is we're not a joke. You can't. We're not going to let you literally blow up one of our military personnel. And blow up our embassy in a different country and not respond to you. That is not. We're not operating that way. Quite frankly, would the United States do anything different? If the shoe were on the other foot, if this was China, maybe, I don't know, boy, that would be interesting. If China blowing up, we would have to respond. If China blew up our embassy in Syria, one of our generals in Syria, we'd have to do something. Can't just stay quiet about that.
The United States is treating this as a legitimate attack on Israel that was thwarted by the Israelis with the help of the Americans and their allies.
Yeah, not only their allies, but Jordan too. Jordan, Saudi Arabia? I'm going to need to see confirmation on Saudi Arabia. All right, last one here for today. Israelis unfazed after Tehran's attack. Iranians say retaliation proves nation strength. Let's go ahead and give this a watch.
Hundreds of missiles, going to Israel, coming to Israel. It's super scary. It was a very hard morning. But from the other hand, I think that nothing scares me anymore after October 7th. I think going back to normal is something that is really needed. Also for my soul, I think that we need to be out there. We need to show them we're not scared.
I'm just glad that nobody got hurt and that.
That just the casual propaganda in Israel, the casual propaganda is just mind-blowing. Just totally oblivious to the crimes of the previous decade. It's everything changed after October 7th. It's 9/11, everything's different. And it's like, no, nothing has changed. Nothing is going to get better because Israel refuses to admit the crimes of the past and continues to commit crimes in the present and plans on committing crimes in the future. Nuh-uh. It's like, okay, the only option is for the United States to carrot and stick this entire fucking country. Okay, there's no fixing this with, Twitch streams and social media posts. The only option is for the United States to put their foot down and say enough is enough. And that's not happening. So goodbye, Palestine. It's not an if, it's a when. And it's been like that for decades. The entire two-state solution was a fucking lie, was theater, was a delay tactic. And the United States was well aware of it. Fucking Clinton was well aware of it. He had to have been.
We need to be out there. We need to show them we're not scared.
I'm just glad that nobody got hurt and that we have a good defense system in Israel, but it shouldn't be like that at all. We shouldn't be living in fear. We shouldn't be attacked like that.
זה הזוי, אבל אני מרגישה שזה חלק מהמציאות.
Okay. Yeah. Any mention of the assassination in Iran? Hello?
Good defense system in Israel, but it shouldn't be like that at all. We shouldn't be living in fear. We shouldn't be attacked like that.
Stop attacking people. I mean, it's wildly incredulous. You literally assassinated, you blew up an embassy and assassinated a general. Oh, you shouldn't attack us like that. It's mean. You shouldn't do that. It's mean. We get an exception. Israel gets an exception to commit atrocities. So it's, you don't have an exception. You're like Arab country. So stop killing people. Stop occupying. End the apartheid. 1967 borders. Return the land to these people that you've stolen it from. I don't know why they keep attacking us. I don't know why everyone hates us. We're just super innocent and we're super nice to everybody.
shouldn't be like that at all. Like, we shouldn't be living
Define
in
your
fear. We
borders.
shouldn't be attacked like that.
זה הזוי, אבל אני מרגישה שזה חלק מהמציאות, כאילו, לא נעים, אבל לא עכשיו שינה לי את החיים מקצה לקצה, זה לא הפתיע אותי.
They're so down for this, you know. If the IDF went into Rafah and just fucking mowed everybody down, it would be, you know, a couple weeks of protests, and then everyone would just get right back to it in Israel. I honestly, I don't think a majority of people in Israel don't give a shit about the Palestinian people. And that if they just disappeared one way or the other, I just don't think they'd care. I just don't think, you know, this idea that humanity, you know, enough is enough, and, you know, the atrocity will be too much.
מקצה לקצה זה לא הפתיע אותי, בוא נגיד את זה ככה.
חیلی خوب بود و ایران هم همینقدر که به اونا نشون داد که ما قدرتمند بودیم و هستیم خیلی بسیار عالی بود و نظر من اینه که تا همینقدر اینا دیگه فهمیدن که با کی طرف هستن.
That's not what happened. Bibi Netanyahu licked his chops and with a big fucking grin was like, "Great, thank you for walking right into my, you know, narrative." I mean, to be fair though, Iran did this in a very smart way. They didn't get anybody killed. You know, it's they've made it difficult. They've made it difficult for Israel to respond with extreme brutality. Because nobody got killed, a couple buildings got damaged, no one got killed in them. Unfortunately, a little girl got hit with shrapnel because that's just how it has to go, right? But you know what I mean? Iran made it more difficult, but they had to respond. But at the same time, this does play into Bibi Netanyahu's narrative, and Israel, he's saying, to the extent Israel realized they are dealing with, it's perfect. No, they're not threatened by Iran. For them, this is an opportunity. Biden said no. Davin, we did cover that. Yes, Biden had, he said, take the dub. Basically, like almost literally said, take the W. Check the Discord memes. This is what I'm thinking of. Oh, okay. From what Israel is claiming is happening.
بسیار عالیه. ما آدمای صلح دوستی هستیم. ولی بخوان ذره از خاک این ایران رو هدف قرار بدن، ما 100% متقابل به مصر میکنیم.
No, Ace, no. No, it's a calculation. It's a calculation. Damn, look at these. Yo, what's up, Iran?
100% متقابل به مصر میکنیم.
Look at that borderline. I mean, that's just a regular civvy on the street. What he has to think. Yeah, I mean, it's just despicable, man. the Israeli, the cognitive dissonance, in Israel. It's intentional. It's ingrained. It's supported by the government. It's reinforced by the government and the population. And this is what you get. Like literally from day one, the dehumanization of the Palestinians begins. It's unbelievable. There's a bazillion documentaries about it. It's fascinating from an anthropological standpoint how this society is trained to hate the Palestinians. But we're seeing it. And like I said before, I honestly, if the IDF went in there and just finished the job, as Trump said, I think, some people would be like, well, I'm sorry it had to go to that and we had no choice. And it would just be a lot of that for a couple weeks and then right back to the mimosas. Right back to the mimosas and good living. The only solution is for the United States, who is the only other entity that can push this government into a different direction. The healing, it will take hundreds of years for the healing to happen between Palestine and Israel. What we need is a powerful entity like the United States to be the adult in the room, but it's not happening, folks. Not happening. It's not happening. They're in too deep. In too deep, dude. I just don't see it happening. Folks, I'd like to remind you that the only way to create real political change, the only way to really create, to any kind of pressure, political pressure against Joe Biden is to participate in political activism. It seems daunting, but it's actually not that difficult. Step one is you inform yourself. You're doing it right now. Step two, put your name down. Maybe it's a progressive protest organization of some sort, activist organization. Maybe it's a union you support. Maybe it's a politician, progressive politician that you like. Whatever it is. Maybe it's a conservative. I don't know. Fucking go crazy. Go nuts. But I think we got enough conservative activists, quite frankly, actively trying to dismantle America. But whatever. If that's your fucking Steve, whatever. Step 3, you got to put in the work. Treat this shit like a lifestyle. It's not all fun and games. It's work. It's your job as a citizen to take your liberty seriously and defend it for your children's sake. I'm not going to have kids. All right, whatever. Do it for yourself then. The big props to Borderline Feline. Big props to Borderline Feline. Big props to Davin. Big props to Ace Fram. Love your comments, guys. Best comment section. Pat on the back. Lenny, strategy member, Ice King. Best chat on Twitch. Fighting. Hi, Platinum. You're great. Thanks for coming back. You're tubing. Thanks for being here. Once again, thank you, Lenny. #1 financial contributor to the stream, Lenny. If you're not liking and subscribing on Lenny, then I'm pooping in your cereal. Love that button. Big props to Lenny. I'm sorry, Lenny. Yes, again. Big props to Davey. Big props to Woke Patriot. Big props to Smash. Thank you, Smash, for being here. Queer 2000. Thank you for that follow, Queer 2000. Clutch Cargo. Folks, make sure you're liking and subscribing on Clutch Cargo's stream. Fellow streamer. Does a great job. Once again, Ace Fram. Love to see you around here, Ace Fram. Cheese Baiter. Looks like Cheese Baiter didn't have the patience to stick around. Saw that coming. But he did stick around longer than I thought he would. So big props to you. Thank you, Chess Baiter. Chess Master Baiter. Cool name. Derek's Ballin. Hopefully I answered your question about nihilism appropriately. Looks like you left after that. Texture Splunky. Big props to you, Texture Splunky. And our friend from Iran, Call Miznu. Thank you, Call. Big props to you for coming in and giving us your perspective of Iran as you live there, as you claimed. Big props to Malum. Thank you, Malum, for coming back. Love to see you. And thank you, IceCore11, for that follow. Hey, a little follow at the end. You love to see that. Because, you know, that's one hell of a tip. Follow at the end. Love it. Folks, peace in that motherfucking Middle East. And glory to the Ukrainian democracy. We're going to try to catch up with Ukraine tomorrow. Take care of yourself out there. Goofa sound effects paired with your patchy knowledge of political science make the stream a tad cringy. Oh, that hurts my feelings. Oh, well, bye. Bye. I never claimed to be a genius. In fact, I think it's quite cringy, the so-called political analysts on Twitch that do claim some kind of academic prowess. I never claimed to be a genius. I do know what's right and wrong. I don't need to be an academic or a genius to know that. I think the conversation I have, while I'm learning things with everybody else, I feel like it's a, worthwhile conversation with people. I think it's fun to learn along with everybody instead of me pretending like I'm an expert at literally everything. But if that's what you prefer, if you would prefer to listen to blowhards who are afraid to talk about subjects outside of their own expertise, who like the sound of their voice and don't interact with their chat, well, there's about 5,000 other streams for you to, pretend to be a family member in, you pathetic piece of shit. Being in my chat is a privilege. It's not a right. So fuck you. Donation link or bits only? I have a political question for you. Just give me, I don't want Jeff Bezos' money. Ask your fucking question. Some people in chat seem like they don't want to go to work tomorrow, just projecting they don't have a job. Borderline. I want to listen to a blowhard that pretends he's right about everything. That's the guy I want. Okay. Got Vosh right over here, bud. You know, you got a Destiny right over here, man. Got Hassan making millions. You know, should I have, you know, what? Started talking about Drake. I saw that he was talking about Drake yesterday. Ooh, Drake rumors. Stay in your wheelhouse, bro. It's cringy. Fuck you, bitch. Okay, I've waited long enough for stupid fucking Ice Pick to ask his question. Bye. I'm leaving. Bye. I'm going. Bye. Thanks for being here. No time for you stupid assholes. Thanks for coming.